Hey guys, well, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Maestro. This certainly has to be one of my favorite all-time motorcycles, and I think you'd agree it's one of the most beautiful motorcycles ever made by human hands, with a touch of the divine for sure. Okay guys, real quick before we get into it, this is the channel that brings you the most exciting stuff, the best information, the coolest people that you'll ever meet on the best roads on the most cool motorcycles. So just real quick, give us a like, please. Give us a subscribe, make a comment below, pass the link off to your buddies, and help us grow this channel and really promote this incredible sport of ours. Thank you so much. All right, look at this. This is what they call motorcycle art. I think if Da Vinci or Michelangelo were alive today, they'd surely be working for MV Agusta and bringing you the likes of Agostini and Halewood, who rode this incredible machine to so many victories and championships. Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Maestro. We're up here on the crest on a beautiful Friday afternoon. The road, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it winds up through these incredible mountains. And I don't think there is a better place to have this incredible motorcycle. This is my own personal 2015 F3 800 three-cylinder motorcycle. And my name for this motorcycle is La Principessa because she is just beautiful. She's really the dream bike of anything you could ask for or hope for. It's got enough power, but the power isn't overwhelming. I rode my buddy's S1000 RR a couple of weeks ago, and I'll tell you what, it is scary. You get on the power at 10, 11, 12,000 RPM, and you're just holding on for dear life. You're not able to implement the Maestro philosophy of safe, smooth, flowing, clean lines through that curve because it's just overwhelming with the power on regular roads. Whereas this, with 148 horsepower and the three-cylinder gives you some nice mid-range, you can just flow and carry speed. And the front end on this thing is, I mean, it's just incredible. It's mind-blowing. It's an enigma. It's planted so well. I'm probably leaving 15% to 20% on the table, even though I'm pretty much dropping everybody if I really start to put it through its paces. And there's, as I say, 15, 20% yet in reserve. I am running, as usual, the Power Cup 2, the fantastic Michelin Power Cup 2 tires. Guys, these are the best street tires you could possibly buy. If you got a super sport bike and you like to rip through the canyons, go get yourself a set of Power Cup 2s. The front end is, I mean, I've never gotten such good feedback from the tire. It's planted, it's predictable. I can just put it into corners where in other tires I'd be a little nervous. With this, I'm just there like, I know this thing is gonna just be solid, smooth, and stable all the way through the corner. Totally linear from a, you know, two-thirds, three-quarters, four-fifths lean angle, doesn't care. I have the Power Cup 2 in the rear, and I'm getting, you know, 1,100 miles out of a rear tire, which I would challenge you to do on a Super Corsa. Anyway, enough for that. What I'd like to tell you too about is the suspension. Now, it has a Marzocchi front suspension and a Sachs rear shock. And when I first got the bike, I bought it, it's a 2015. I bought it with only 3,000 miles on. I said, oh my goodness, this is such a great deal. The bike is in perfect condition, both cosmetically, mechanically, and engineering-wise. And I thought, all right, I'm going to keep this bike a long time. I might want to put an Andriani front end on it. And I went online and looked up how much Öhlins TTX rear shocks were. So they were like 1,400 plus 600. So I said, all right, the bike is almost brand new. It's a spectacular bike. Why not dump $2,000 into it right off the bat and really have the ultimate sport bike for these canyons, for these roads? And then I took it to my buddy, actually my buddy Dave Moss, who I've known for 25 years, came down to my house with a couple of friends and dialed in the suspension on the bike. And I took it out and I go, you know what? This ain't half bad. And the more I rode it, I said, this is really pretty good. And so I tuned it a little bit more and put a little bit more compression in the front and a little bit more in the back as well. Just made it a little bit stiffer than Dave had, like 2 clicks each. And I'll tell you what, I just saved myself $2,000 because I don't need to put the Öhlins in the back or the Andriani forks in the front in this particular motorcycle. Now, you know, I love Öhlins, and Öhlins is always the right answer to every question, but it's not always necessary, and with this bike, I don't think it is. What else can I tell you about this bike? Well, wet weight, they claim, is 409 pounds. Now, I had an RSV4, and they claimed 454 pounds. I probably took 12, 15 pounds off of that with the Akrapovic full exhaust. This has a full Terminioni full exhaust, so I'm probably down in the mid 390s on this bike, fully gassed and ready to go. And I'll tell you what, that makes a huge difference. It gives you confidence. The bike just turns in, it's completely linear, it's completely planted. You can just take a corner and just, if you need to dial in a little bit more lean angle, you just push down. And I've touched down on the pegs a couple of times, and that's probably because I don't get off the bike like I used to. I'm old. 30 years ago, I would have been off the bike a little bit more, but still, this thing just rips, it romps, it goes great. It sounds unbelievable. I call it my pit terrier because it just has that raspy growl of a little terrier that doesn't know its own size or strength and just is ready to fight the German Shepherd or the Rottweiler. It doesn't care. And that pretty much describes this bike. So it's a bike that I think Giacomo Agostini, the great world champion of the 60s and 70s, would be extremely proud of. And Giacomo, if you're watching, come on out, let's ride together. I'd love to get your take on what you think about this incredible machine. So with that, let me just throw a quick little advertisement in. As you know, with the Maestro channel, we don't just kind of putt around the bikes. We put them into action. We tell you what this bike actually can do. So for you guys who are good riders out there and you find these reviews where the guys are just kind of cruising around at 5/10, that doesn't really help you tell you whether or not this bike is as capable as you would hope. Well, we're going to put this bike through its paces, and I think you're going to see that this thing exceeds expectations in just about every single area. The one downside of this bike, when I got this bike, I called up our friends at Woodcraft and Healy Bars to see if I could bring the bars up about, even a ½ an inch to an inch would be great. And you can't unless you do some really strange things with the fairing and the front end there. So it is what it is. It's not horrible for, hour-long rides. After that, you probably want to take a rest. Unless you're 25 or 30 years old, then ride the dang thing all day. Anyway, if you would be so kind, if you're getting a lot out of this kind of channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback and see what you think about this incredible machine. Pass the link on to your buddies. And we've recently hit 2,000 subscribers. So thank you very much, all you folks who have helped us out to promote this channel and promote this incredible sport that we love. All right, enough said. Let's take her out on the road and we'll show you what she can do.